Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hesitation Station podcast. My name is Jay, along with my wonderful, that's too much, my idiotic co host, Tank. That's
Why
better.
are you talking about yourself?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm here with my wonderful co host, Tank. We are doing another interview today. So we got somebody special. We actually met him over at Southern Nerds Fest in Biloxi, right?
Yes, and I'm here with the Wombo Combo Man himself.
Yes. Yes, still recovering from that from last week, but we'll eventually get there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
the key word for all that is patience.
yeah, well, I don't have that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have on Mr. Lee Turner, and what did you call him, Mr. Tank?
A horror historian.
Here he is.
How
Bam.
Hey guys, appreciate you guys having
you
me on.
doing? Boy, we
How's it going?
appreciate you coming.
So we met over at Southern Nerds Fest. How'd you come back, or how'd you do that? How'd you get into that?
Just kind of approach them about running some promos and everything. We broadcast kind of our flagship station for after hour cinemas in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, which is, just right across the bay, so to speak, from Biloxi and the Coliseum, and got in touch with them. They offered me that opportunity for a community table and had a blast there. Got lucky enough and got to sit near you guys and kind of collaborate and catch up and network. Just a wonderful opportunity. Got to meet some great people on the Gulf Coast and people that came from all over far. Got to see some great cosplay, attend some great panels, even popped into you guys' panel, enjoyed it. So again,
Thank you.
Great opportunity, great networking.
Yeah, it was awesome to be able to talk to you about. You're a big horror fanatic, I guess I could say, right? And
Yeah, it's certainly a classic horror fanatic.
yeah,
A lot of people always say, "Are you a horror host, horror historian?" You'll just let me digress briefly how I got into this gig. Was originally we were on WGUD channel 51 out of Pascagoula, and a local wrestling promotion came by wanting me to run a commercial for my law practice, and I'm like, a commercial on TV cannot be that cheap. So he goes, "Yeah, I'm serious, is that cheap?" And I was like, "Okay." So I ran this on the old school studio set kind of wrestling. You guys remember from the 80s and everything, and got to know some people
Yeah.
there being on Diamond Championship Wrestling, and that kind of morphed into hosting the Friday night movie, that morphed into after hour cinema, and it's exceeded it beyond my wildest dreams as far as getting on kind of syndication. We're on several different national stations and other platforms, and got to meet some wonderful horror personalities. I get to go to a charity event every year in LA called Halloween Hotness. Great St. Jude's event, great fundraiser. Met some of my idols in the horror industry. A lot of '80s scream queens and scream kings, for that matter. And personalities, and just I've also given an opportunity to kind of dabble in some indie films, and got to work with a guy named Hunter Bickham all the time, who does a great job producing, shooting, and editing the show. And again, what you see of me is a small fraction compared to what goes on behind the scenes. So just very, very lucky. I mean, I've got some great, kind of co-hosts, co-presenters. I've got Sherry Davis. I've got Dawn DeVerger, Jennifer Moriarty, Eric Russo, Ali Perez. Jennifer Nangle. The list just keeps going on and on. I just cannot thank everyone enough, all the support that I've gotten. It's been overwhelming.
So
Yeah.
who was with you at the con? Was that Miss Sherry?
Oh, that was Dawn DeVerger. She's
Okay.
a local actress. She kind of got her start in certain respects doing a lot of Steve Sessions films. He was a Biloxi-based filmmaker before I want to say he moved off to Connecticut somewhere, but was really kind of in the early forerunners of shot on video horror. Made a great movie called Cremains. I don't know if you've heard that great Thunder and Lightning. We're talking
Be
about
quiet,
horror films.
Thor.
It was very, very apropos to the podcast. Got to meet her. There was also some other people. We had some other kind of regulars that got to stop by the table. But again, great actress, great supporter. She's also co-hosted some episodes. Can't give her enough shout out. She's just a big supporter. So big part of it.
Yeah, well, one of your buddies actually stopped by, and I got to talk heavy metal with him. That was cool.
Oh, yeah, that would be Mr. Adam Drock. He is a diehard supporter. He's kind of in our live chat crew. We simulcast the show for people that don't kind of get it in the broadcast networks. It will air on the flagship station, on what we're going to call flagship for lack of a better word, Friday night.
Yeah.
Then we'll take that episode and syndicate it out across the country. But for people who don't live in any viewing area, we'll typically throw it up on YouTube or Rumble. And there's a live little chat crew. He's one of the little chat crew leaders, along with another horror host called Uncle Edward and Charles Hallowell. I mean, again, I've gotten the level of support from some of the people and some of the diehard supporters. I mean, it's heartwarming in a way. It really is.
Yeah.
I've been blown away.
Did you ever think? You said that you don't ever think that you would have been in this position, because you said you were doing I think TV and all that before.
Well, I was, I had lived in LA in the late 90s, early 2000s, had left, come home to Mississippi, and had kind of put all this kind of behind me in most respects. I mean, I was still watching a lot of horror films, watching any kind of film for that matter, listening to a lot of podcasts. And again, if somebody from Diamond Championship Wrestling had not contacted me about a commercial, who knows if this would have ever happened. So it's just very serendipitous. So
it would have been funny if he said that the people that got him, like the wrestling people, was TDW. I thought that was funny. We wrestled with them, and we've had them on. It's a Tough Dude Warrior, and they are awesome.
Tough Dude Wrestling Warrior Destroyer.
Cornette podcast too, so I always listen to Cornette's Drive Through, and I mean, I really had not watched a lot of wrestling. I did follow some of Jim Cornette's stuff as he talked about classic wrestling and again, serendipitous Diamond Championship Wrestling. And then a Mobile promotion I think we ran some spots on them. And then again, this thing just took off way, way beyond. And I've gotten so many help from so many other horror hosts, like people from the Monster Channel, Bone Jangler, Halloween Jack, Vincent Grimley. There's just been so many people who've been kind of cheerleaders in my corner.
I understand.
There were two brothers called the Angry Brothers, and a lot of their stuff's archived. God rest his soul, bless his heart. Les Robb passed away. He was a horror host, Uncle Jack Angry, and they had just an over-the-top, Wild West style horror host show on Omaha, Nebraska. They were kind of major cheerleaders of mine, major kind of, I would almost say consultants for the first few episodes, because this was just kind of on a whim. I was just sitting in a chair and kind of, trying to improvise this stuff, and then finally got a teleprompter, finally started getting halfway organized around it. So
I understand. Tank, did you want to ask something? I don't want to cut you off.
No, I just started chuckling at the name of the Angry Brothers.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to see some zaniness, go to YouTube and put in Angry Brothers, Omaha Shockorama. It's Brother Jack, and God, they're just, and they have these crazy co-hosts. I mean, some lovely gals. They were over the top, but it was intentionally over the top. So.
Yeah,
yeah.
Now you said something about a Monster Channel.
Yeah, the Monster Channel is all horror hosts 24/7. It's there's a Roku platform for it. I want to say there's an Amazon Fire platform, but certainly Roku, and you can just go to themonsterchannel.com 24/7, watch horror hosts. There's a live chat box, and it's very interactive. I've met some great people on there. Like I said, Halloween Jack does a great job. I guess he would, as developing that channel and doing the programming and I guess the moderation of the comments as well. Just, stand-up platform. If you're a fan of horror, especially horror host, I mean, Monster Channel, has been very good to me.
So you still reside in Ocean Springs right now?
No, I mean, I don't actually live in Ocean Springs. I live about 50 miles from Ocean Springs. I live, I would say the closest town that you might know would be Lucedale, Mississippi, kind of. Yeah. I live in between, actually Leakesville, but in between Hattiesburg and Mobile. So
okay. So,
got started on Pascagoula TV till that station sold, and then moved over to Ocean Springs Television, Ocean 7.
Okay.
Which is kind of a bigger, low-power TV station.
Me personally, I just don't think people realize that we have this kind of stuff, like, horror stuff and all this other things. We go from horror to funny to comedy to everything, and people just think Mississippi is just a stick in the mud. But in reality, we have so much to offer, and it's just crazy what you can find at these cons.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. I'm thinking about going up to Jackson soon. There's been several people. There's been quite a few horror films filmed in Mississippi as well. There was a.
There really has.
Probably the most prominent one would be, I think, Search for the. There's just been so many movies. I think The Beast Within was filmed in Jackson, Yazoo City area. There was actually a very regional horror film in the mid '80s, filmed in West Point, Mississippi. I'm kind of not getting into some of the indie horror that's been shot. I mean, there's actually a burgeoning indie horror scene in Mississippi. We're going to hopefully do some horror on location and everything. So, but absolutely. And one of the, there was actually a pretty prominent female horror hostess in the, I guess, late 60s, early 70s, named Scartitia out of Jackson, that a lot of horror host historians have kind of reached out and found her true identity, and you can kind of research her. I forgot. I want to say it was WLBT was the state. I think that's the station in Jackson she was on. So kind of ahead of her time. If you can, I think even several local bloggers have even, it was kind of like, who was this woman? Because she did it as an alternate persona. Unlike myself, I don't dress up in a character. It's just I kind of do the Bob Wilkins style. I don't really. I mean, I do make fun of the movies a little bit, but I'm not overly ripping on them. I'm more of a true historian of them, as opposed to let's go make fun of this film and do a funny little skit. So I get into a lot of the behind the scenes and a lot of the trivia for the movie.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so going off of the horror stuff, there's been a lot of horror movies, low budget and high profile, shot here in Mississippi. But there's also a lot of like urban legends and folklore and mythical monsters and stuff in Mississippi that I don't think a lot of people have touched on.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm still waiting on, and again, it's because it's just as much in Mississippi as it is Louisiana. I'm still waiting on a truly good Honey Island Swamp Monster, movie. Because again, there's been some attempts, but I really think that that's an underserved folktale that really needs to be, needs to be explored. I'm waiting on a horror film to be made about the famous. It's called The Legs Murder in Jones County, where somebody found a torso cut in half, and the mystery of who these pair of legs belong to. So, if you've never Googled The Legs Murder in Jones County, I mean, again, that's a horror film waiting to happen.
That would be a wonderful movie.
Yeah, it would be a great podcast topic too from some local. There's some great filmmakers and kind of great like nostalgia personalities in Jones County would be all over it as well. So,
that what I was gonna say before Tank asked you the question. This is the problem we mostly run into is we try not to talk over each other because we try so hard too.
We fail.
We fail a lot. So my question, because you said you dabble in indie movies quite often. So do you think a lot of people don't watch a lot of indie horror movies? Do you think there's a lot of like psychological tear into those indie movies that people don't realize that's put into them?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, again, some of the hardest working people are indie horror filmmakers because a lot of times the director and the producers doing multiple jobs and everything. I think indie horror is being watched a lot more than you realize. I mean, just, all you have to do is turn on Tubi or the Plex TV app, and it's just inundated with so many. You could never watch it all. There's so much. Now, again, quality runs the gamut from it looked like a sixth grader with a 1985 camcorder out there to somebody that I can't believe they pulled this movie off for this amount of money. We just ran an independent horror film on After Hour Cinema called Daisy. It was a creature feature shot out in Fresno, California for less than $5,000. And I'm not trying to brag because I had a little tiny cameo in it. It looks, 100 times that budget. Great storytelling. It's the classic, creativity and talent can overcome certain budgetary limitations. So, but I think people are watching indie horror more than people realize. I'm not sure if it's, and there's so many subgenres of indie horror. People don't really get out of their comfort zone of that subgenre that they like, but there's so much psychological stuff that goes into it, so much, creative energy.
One of the things that I've gotten into over the past few years with horror movies is like the found footage. It's like how Blair Witch Project kind of started it. Their budget was only $60,000, but the reception that it got was outstanding.
There is no telling what the marketing budget is. I have a very unique story about the Blair Witch Project. I was valet parking cars in Hollywood when we were I was an event valet parker, and they were having a party, and it was for the Blair Witch Project, and they were acting like this was a legitimate documentary coming out. It just, this is early days of the internet, and there's no message boards, and phenomenal marketing. We left there believing, man, we can't wait to watch this documentary. Some of my coworkers and the caterers and everything. So, but found footage is amazing. There's actually, it's such a popular subgenre. There's several just found footage film festivals. So, it's almost as, I would say it's probably a top 10 subgenre of the horror world, it's the found footage. So, it's great storytelling. I think certain times, like anything, it can be overdone and overused, and kind of a cheap way to, it's inexpensive way to kind of hide a lot of mask, a lot of plot holes and everything. But again, I'm a big fan of found footage.
Yeah, found footage. I don't know if this would be considered one, but we talked about this before on the podcast. We were talking about Cloverfield at one point. That was a good found footage movie.
I would say it certainly has hallmarks of, of found footage, certain elements that it certainly, I think there's an arguable basis that it is a found footage movie, no doubt.
Yeah. So,
go
ahead.
Well, that's like you were talking about Tubi and having a lot of the indie movies on it. We've got Tubi, and there's another one that's called Freevee. Lets you watch TV for free. And you're right. There's a vast array of horror movies, whether it be found footage, indie films, classics, whatever. My opinion, I'm a fan of indie films, but I hate to say it, it's 50-50 with them from what I can tell. You'll run across one and you'll watch it, you'll get 20-30 minutes into it, and then it just flatlines. But then you'll run across one and you'll get 10 minutes into it and you're stuck. You're like, I have to see how this ends. It's a lot of hit and miss. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is with the way that indie movies go about, whether it's horror or action or comedy or whatever, number one, most of the times they're working with a small budget, $10,000, $5,000, $20,000, whatever. They don't have the big Hollywood thing to bankroll them. Like with our buddies at Door Number 3 Films, over in Alabama. They're putting movies and shows together, and they've got small. They don't have major Hollywood budgets. They got small indie film budgets, and they work with what they got. And everything I've seen from them has been phenomenal. Yeah. So you got to put that work into it, but you also got to find that niche and something that clicks with the audience.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it runs the gamut in quality. And what has happened is that as the equipment gets less, more and more inexpensive, it's kind of democratized how easy it is to make a movie, but it didn't democratize talent and creativity. So
Yeah.
a lot of people, I'm going to be a filmmaker, I'm going to do this, they do that, and it's just like you can tell these people didn't practice with short films before they started trying to make a feature, or they were a little over ambitious for the budget. Sometimes less is more. But I agree. I would even go as high as 50-50 being good versus bad. I would say there's a lot more schlock, and I say schlock lovingly, but as far as, some of the better ones, and certain people, I mean, they have a little formula, they stick to the formula, and it works for them. I mean, again, as long as you're having fun and, you've got your stock company of talent, so to speak, you roll with it. So,
yeah,
makes sense. You said that you have done cameos on indie films before, right? Or little tidbit cameos, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some bigger roles too. I mean, like I said, I did some acting way back when, kind of got out of it, but I certainly don't consider myself an actor by any stretch of the imagination now. But certainly have done some indie roles and got some upcoming projects coming out, and just I consider myself an enthusiast more than a hobbyist actor, more than hey, I'm out here pursuing acting. It's just don't have the time, the energy, or just without running a business and taking care of a family.
Yeah, I understand. Well, what would you describe the atmosphere like with those kind of films?
As far as being on set, they sets run the gamut, in my opinion. They're either one big family or let me shoot my scene and get out of there. I mean, there are some middle of the road sets, but again, I have been very fortunate and not really had a lot of bad on-set experiences. They've all been really good. I mean, I've met some wonderful people, some super talented people. Again, especially some of the sets out in California. I mean, again, some of these people I talk to all the time, we bounce stuff off of, we're creative, we're collaborating on project. Some of the local sets around here have been just as entertaining and just as fun. Now, some of them are like, right then, like, man, they need to get a little more organized. They need to do, I think they're being a little over ambitious for their resources, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it makes you're a little, you learn to be guarded with your time on them. So
I think that's something that a lot of them don't take into account. Like you said, when you get into it at first, you have to do the short films first. The 5, 10-minute, 20-minute clips, so you can figure out where your talent is, figure out what you've got as far as actors and everything goes, and build off of that. Because if you don't have a foundation, it's going to fall. So once they take that time and figure out, all right, well, this camera angle doesn't do well, but this one is like 30 times better, so we're going to try this and alter that. You'll work through the formula and figure out what it is that works for your directing style. Because if you go through and look throughout Hollywood, look throughout cinema, you'll find a lot of comparisons between a lot of different directors, but each of them has their own style that they bring into whatever film that they're shooting, whether that be an indie film or in-game. It don't really matter. There's going to be some differences between it, and depending on the genre of movie, it's that difference that's going to either make or break what you're trying to do, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Like I said, I mean, everybody builds off everybody. Everybody, I look at it, the good director study film, they have their influences, and everybody influences everyone else, and you build off that. Everybody has a contribution, but again, a lot of times this is a common thing you'll hear from people even people like me that dabble in indie film. Getting it in the can, so to speak, is only half the battle. a lot of films fall apart at the post-production because it's not glamorous to be editing, trying to get a composer to make a score, or even trying to track down good stock music. Again, that post-production piece is where a lot of people kind of let the ball drop because it's not fun, it's not glamorous. It's sitting in a darkened room and going through, shot after shot, putting together the sequences, and that you miss that collaboration. But good post-production skills can salvage even a mediocre project, in my opinion.
I think you're right. I think that's where the heroes really come out, because everybody has fun when they're out and about shooting the scenes. Everybody's together on set. That's the meat and potatoes of it all. But you got to get to the vegetables, and not everybody likes their vegetables.
And a lot of people overspend getting it in the can, and all you have to do is look at the Indiegogo is the greatest thing that ever happened for indie films, and the worst thing at the same time. It's it's democratized it, but it might have over democratized because there's certain people like, I don't know about that. That was a good idea. But, a lot of times there's a lot of finishing funds campaigns out there because things got a little overboard actually on set, during the getting it in the can phase, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
I got a random off-topic question, by the way, for Mr. Turner here. Have you read all those books behind you?
Unfortunately, I've read a fair amount, but a lot of times they're for decorations. So.
Okay.
With Westlaw and online legal research aids, there's just really not as much of a need to crack them open. But I mean, again, I certainly do use some of them. The other side has much more appropriate resource material. So much more ones that I actively use. Some of these, again, unfortunately, you got to have the books for decorations. The more books, the more you can charge. I'm just kidding.
I'll say this. I think you're probably the most decorated interviewer or interviewee that we've had on. Like yours may look the most well put together.
I want to give my hat tip to Lisa Cole and Taylor Garrettson. They put together this little lovely ensemble for me behind me. Friday, when I was out of the office, they did this decorating. They went above and beyond. So got to give them a hat tip and kudos. So.
Yeah, I was like, man, he reads a lot of books. He read one book. That means he's smarter than me.
Oh, you're too kind. Too kind.
Hell, he popped in. I thought we were going to be talking to a lawyer. It's like, are we going to jail?
Objection. No, I'm sorry.
Overruled.
I like books with pictures in them. Yeah.
Sadly, no graphic novels back here.
Oh, well.
He lost all of the interest in words when he lost his hair.
Hey, I'm follically challenged too, so I mean, I get.
I feel it, man. I ain't got nothing up there either. It all migrated.
Y'all guys are losing your hair naturally. I lost my hair because super glue. So,
yeah.
Lee's like, what the fuck?
You should ask him about that.
Yeah, I went to go try to fix my door, my hinge on my door. And it was like 11:30 at night, so I was tired. I was ready to go to bed, so I decided to get super glue because the nails wasn't working. So I cut the super glue. I turned it upside down because the cap wasn't coming off. So I cut the super glue. It got up into my eye and closed and super glued my eye shut, and then got all up in my hair. And
oh my word!
Yeah, so I got it out my eye. And it wasn't coming out with the hair. I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I decided to just go ahead and start cutting it. And that was it. And then what's worse is that I'm like, it's literally half. Like half of it's gone, half of it's still there. And then I call Tank and he's like, there was ways you could have got it out. I'm like, oh, you could have told me that.
He calls me when he's halfway done.
Well,
speaking of super glue, I had a I think it's an interesting idea. a series of short stories about a super glue monster. My interest has been piqued.
And I'm the victim. Mm-hmm.
You're the victim in everyday life. We need somebody else.
Thanks. I appreciate
All right, back on topic. Horror movies.
Yeah, horror movies. This is what we do. We get off topic a lot, so that's
the story of my life is staying off topic. I completely understand.
Now, what is your favorite horror movie?
You got to do it right if you're going to ask that question.
I'm ready for it because I get asked all the time, and again, and I'm not going to narrow it down by subgenre because I have one for like various subgenres. But my most favorite horror film of all time is, without a doubt, The Exorcist. I mean, amazing film, amazing performances, and the fact that they made this young 13, 14-year-old girl the epitome of pure evil is just outstanding horror filmmaking. I had a chance. I was in Washington, D.C. A couple of years ago and got to visit. It's probably one of the most visited horror filming locations ever, because they're called the Exorcist Steps in Georgetown. People there's plaques up to the movie and everything, and it was just, you had to wait to get a selfie on the Exorcist Steps. But again, that performance in, Linda Blair's performance in The Exorcist, and just how frightening it was, this utter possession. I just think it's one of the best horror film, in my opinion, made.
Have you ever gotten to meet Linda Blair or no?
I don't think that I have. I might have met her at a early 2000s convention in LA. I just cannot remember. So,
I got to meet her with our buddy Randy, and I just I didn't really go into the line. It was more of Randy was going to meet her, so I was just like, have fun. So it was more of got to see her from a distance kind of thing. So because I didn't want to meet her, so I was just like, well, it's not that I didn't want to meet her, it's that I didn't have the money. So,
I feel you on that. Some of the guest fees are kind of getting on up there. So
yeah, they're getting on up there. My mom is one of the people that thinks me buying autographs is dumb, and I don't know if you see it, but that white folder right there where my finger is, it's full of autographs, and she thinks it's dumb that I'm paying $40-$50 for an autograph, and I'm like, but that's what I like. That's what I collect. So, I mean, if you like it, then do it. But if I would have had the chance, I would have went with Randy and met Linda. Like I would have done it. But it is what it is. And I like The Exorcist, but here's my rebuttal to that. I think one of my favorite movies, horror movies, and if we're gonna stay in the Exorcist part, would be The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That was so good to me, and
that was a good movie.
And back when I was growing up and when I saw it, I was terrified. I was like, this is a real thing based off of a true story and things like that. And yes, it was based off of a true story, but then I got older and realized that, hey, I know that lady from Dexter. Wait a minute, that's sister.
It's like, wait a minute. And then I got older and realized it's actors and stuff like that. But to me, that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And my mom, she won't even, till this day, she won't even watch The Exorcist. She's scared of it.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with what was all going on when they were filming it. You've got all the stories from the actors and the actresses. Allegedly 9 people died during production. Everybody getting hurt, and there was that one scene near the end where she's in that water pit and the skeletons float up.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, they're real skeletons. Like, there was a lot that went on during that movie that apparently scarred people.
Yeah, William Friedkin was an amazing director. Amazing director. Not just a horror director either. I mean, he did every kind of genre.
Do you think they were real skeletons? Or do you think that's just some forum that somebody put on Reddit and said, these are real?
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that quite a few of the people that worked on it got seriously injured or died. Like, which one was it? One of them had a helicopter in it, and the helicopter crashed, and it actually killed like 3 people.
That was the Twilight Zone movie in the
that one, yeah.
In the, like, I want to say 1980. That was Jennifer Jason Leigh's father, the actor. His name is escaping me. Pretty prominent actor. He died in that accident. So that was.
See, I love when people have the actual information. That way, I know what I'm talking about.
But in The Exorcist, one of the X-ray tech, that was an actual. There's an X-ray tech scene in The Exorcist, and that actual X-ray tech ended up murdering a couple people. You know, ended up going to prison and everything. So,
well,
alrighty then.
I didn't know that. I mean, there's cursed movies, man. They're there. We just got to figure out which one it is.
Speaking of cursed movies and stuff, hold on, I don't exactly remember his name, so bear with me for a moment.
Rar.
Yes, Rar.
You said bear, so I just.
What is his name? What is his name? Ruggero Deodato, the director for Cannibal Holocaust.
That's
That's
an intense movie. So
they came out with the Green Inferno, which was, from what I understand, just the same movie but toned down. Mm-hmm. So a buddy of mine got me to watch the Green Inferno, and I was like, "Holy crap!" So I finally found where I could watch Cannibal Holocaust, and woo, yeah, I see why he had to go in front of the judge. That was nuts. Like the directing for
love.
If I didn't know that was a movie, yeah, I'd have thought the same thing.
You thought it was in a snuff film, so
yeah, pretty much. That's what it looked like.
I hate to say
it looked real.
I've never seen Cannibal Holocaust.
It's disturbing.
Yeah,
that's why I'm the normal.
I don't say that about a lot of movies. I've watched all kinds of crap over the years, but that is one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen.
And I think he made the talent kind of go into hiding a little bit after, to amp up, some of that, guerrilla marketing. So
yeah, like the dude, bar how the movie played out, the dude was a genius. Mm-hmm. Like to be able to play the story out and have it visually look like the real thing and have it mess with people, even to this day, it's nuts. The dude was a genius, in my opinion. Like it was phenomenal.
He definitely had a mad marketing skills as well. So
yes,
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think it's that bad. Then again, I've never seen it, so I can't.
You should watch it.
Well, I mean, I don't know how, so there's that.
I will find it again, and we can watch it the next time you're over. Yeah. If I had to suffer, you have to suffer. That's what friends do.
It's not a date movie, so don't bring a date with you to watch it.
His wife would love it.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that his wife would love it.
Don't make that a date night for you and the wife to watch it.
Like, aren't you just so excited for this movie, babe? Yeah. That would be great. That would be a great date movie. What do you mean, Lee?
She would be having a lot of questions for you.
No, he would be having a lot of questions.
Well, Lee, do you have anything that you want to talk to us about your after hours or about anything in general?
Just very briefly, we're gonna probably, during the summer, I kind of spice things up. We kind of do go on hiatus a little bit, but I'm gonna start letting some guest host or showcasing some other horror host on there as we kind of build up for the new season that will kind of launch sometime in mid-September. Again, going to be hopefully going to some more conventions. The After Hour Cinema Gang will certainly be at Halloween Hotness, which will be in Hollywood, California, around October 20th. It's a St. Jude's fundraiser. I would encourage you guys to get involved. It's a great way to go meet some people and network, and for a worthy cause. I mean, I can't think of any better cause than St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And other than that, just got some great episodes coming up. Look forward to collaborating with more people. And I tell everyone, this is a shout out for anyone. If you've got a podcast, you got anything horror related, pop culture, sci-fi related, you want to send us a shout out or a promo, we'll run it for you free of charge. Like I said, we're on about 30 stations all around the country. We look forward to helping any and everyone get the message out about their show or their podcast or their novel, their graphic book, their comic, whatever you've got. Send it our way. If you've got a trailer, hey, if you just want to do a shout out, send it to us. So we're all about it. So.
Yeah.
Okay. We still got.
I want to add two things to that. One, going off of what he just said, we're gearing up for Ranger Stop next weekend. So after that, I think we're going to get together and get one put together to send to you.
Absolutely.
Number two, the end of September, Humble Enterprises is hosting the Alabama Comic Con. September, I think, 28th and 29th, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to get back with you on that just to double check. But they are accepting community tables and fan tables for that as well.
Oh, absolutely. What part of Alabama?
Birmingham.
Oh,
yeah. That one.
Wonderful. Absolutely. I look forward to that.
I had to think for a minute.
So you should put in for it, and that way we can see you over there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you guys come down this way, we got to get you to the studio, put you in front of the green screen, and we'll have some fun. So
can I get chased by gorillas?
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Screen?
What's that?
Can I get chased by gorillas with the green screen?
We can make that happen very
Let's
easily.
Do it. Well, Lee, do you want to shout out your socials real quick before we go?
Oh, yeah. You can find us, just After Hour Cinema on Facebook. We're recovering from a pretty vicious Facebook hack a year ago. We're After Hour Cinema, underscored on Instagram. We're probably much more, probably a lot more posts on Instagram, but we are on Facebook. We also have a Twitter page, just After Hour Sin. And then I will, and we're thinking about doing TikTok. I've been kind of, hadn't really kind of made that leap yet to TikTok. But again, the best way is to find us on Instagram or Facebook. We do have a YouTube channel where we simulcast our shows for people that are outside the viewing area. And we also kind of archive that on our Rumble channel as well. So again, if anybody, certainly I tell everybody, if you got a question, just DM us. Me, Josh, or Hunter will be sure to answer your question as soon as we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lee, I hope
shout out real quick. There's a horror host movie coming out called Film Fiend, directed by Michael Rodriguez. It's about a female horror host that becomes stalked by a deranged fan and starts murdering people like the movies that she's hosting, trying to get her attention. It's directed by Michael Rodriguez, stars Sparkle Sujian. It's got Jennifer Moriarty. It also has a former Oscar nominee in it. I mean, it is just a great. This is indie horror done right. I think you guys will love it. There's also I'll send you guys the link. We just aired a great indie horror film called Daisy, a old school creature feature. I think you guys will love it. I'll send you a free download link of it. So
okay.
Hell yeah, we appreciate that.
Definitely,
When is the
your guys'
movie
opinion.
coming out?
Daisy, it's already out. That we had a premiere about 2 months ago. It will probably right now. It's kind of on the festival circuit, playing some limited TV markets. I'm assuming Michael will probably try to get it out on Tubi and Plex here in the next several months. I'm assuming that's the plan. That's a little bit above my pay grade on kind of those.
I feel that.
But that's just my expectations. So.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, look, Lee, I really hope this was a decent interview, a decent podcast for
I
you.
had a great time, guys.
I'm here trying to get through some good old fashioned gout, so I'm sorry if I hesitated a bit. So, because we're hesitation station, yeah.
Hey,
But yeah, I really
alpurinol for that gout. So.
no, they didn't give me that. Although a lot of people have been telling me to get that.
Yeah.
But I've been.
What is that?
It's a gout treatment.
Yeah.
It's a pill.
I have a lot of disability clients with gout. That's the only reason why I knew what alpurinol was.
But yeah, I'm sorry if I seem hectic, and I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed having you. Make sure to go check out Lee Turner at After Hours Cinema. He shouted out all of his socials, so they'll all be on the promos, guys, whenever we put them out. And about when this comes out, we'll be at Ranger Stop. So be sure to look out for us on that. And we hope to see y'all guys there. Make sure to follow us on all of our socials. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everything. We're on everything. Twitch. Everywhere. So make sure you go show some love to us, and make sure you go show some love to Lee and his team. And yeah, we'll see y'all at the next episode. Peace out.
Boy.